Hi everyone, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Up with KREM at 6 o'clock. I'm Tim Pham. We also want to welcome you in if you're streaming us on KREM 2+. This morning it is a tale of two stories when it comes to the weather. If you're in the downtown Spokane area, you're waking up to rain, but as you head south towards the Spokane South Hill, you'll see some of that snow. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick tracking it all for us. And Thomas, we're under a weather impact alert this morning.
Yeah, I wanted to call for that just because I knew that some roadways were very messy due to the snow that was sticking, because it looked like it was trying to pile up to about 2 inches of snow very quickly this morning. Now the active snowfall is starting to an end. There's still this little sliver that's over, let's call it Spokane South Hill, because it's still rainfall over downtown where it's just been a degree or two warmer. The snow level has not quite dropped to that particular elevation. So it definitely is a mix. Some areas are faring better than others, but where it has snowed and where it has stuck, it's actually pretty messy as of this morning. There are winter weather advisories throughout North Idaho, where about 1 to 2 inches of snow is looking a bit more likely. Across Spokane County, 0 to 2 inches. It is intentionally put that way because some areas are just rain, other areas are getting that snowfall.
Here's a live look at the traffic impact this morning because of that snow. The KREM 2 storm tracker driving throughout the inland northwest to show you the differences of road conditions. On the South Hill, there was a lot of snow, but as you can see on I-90, just rain. So right now, no major traffic incidents popping up around our area. That's going to slow you down, but we'll keep you updated on weather and traffic together every 30 minutes. This morning, authorities are reminding people to stay safe while on the slopes. Over the weekend, snowboarders triggered a small avalanche at Silver Mountain. According to Silver Mountain Resort, 4 snowboarders hiked to a permanently closed area going under the rope closure line. One of the boarders reportedly triggered the avalanche, which then caught 2 others. Resort staff say no one was buried or hurt. This morning, we are hearing reaction across the nation after the announcement the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter, has died. President-elect Donald Trump said Carter, quote, did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude, end quote. Former President George W. Bush saying Carter dignified the office, while former President Barack Obama said, quote, he taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. Yesterday, Idaho Governor Brad Little posted to X saying Jimmy Carter will be remembered as a man who dedicated his life to his country, his time in the Navy, as governor of Georgia, President of the United States, and his humanitarian efforts after. Remind us of the importance of service of others. May he rest in peace. Washington Governor Jay Inslee said there are many reasons to reflect on the legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. One is the vision he had for renewable energy that is now being realized. Reagan took down Carter's White House solar panels, but now they are sprouting up all over the country. As many mourn the former president, the former Seattle mayor, Charlie Royer, says Carter was the best politician he ever met. Our station in Seattle caught up with Royer in 2023, more than a year before he passed away in July of 2024.
Whenever President Jimmy Carter visited Seattle,
oh yeah, the 1980 conference, yeah.
Seattle Mayor Charlie Royer was usually there too.
Oh yeah, I was right next to him, right behind him.
And in 1980, when Carter was battling for re-election to the White House, he made 4 trips to the state of Washington.
President Carter chose Seattle as his last campaign stop,
including on election eve.
To keep our nation strong and secure.
For Carter's last speech as a candidate, Charlie Royer was in the front row.
People here, I think, identified with Jimmy. And they called him Jimmy. Gimme Jimmy was the chant that went up whenever he walked into the room.
Royer says he only has positive memories of the former president, who spent time with Royer's family during one of the stops, and the president's mother, Lillian, here on the right, compared proud mom stories with Royer's mother, Mildred, on the left.
They just ignored me and sat down and started talking, just like 2 old friends. You know, she was, I can see where Carter got his personality. He was an intelligent and caring and maybe one of the best people I've ever met in politics.
President Carter is here now. This is live.
Royer says Carter was good to Seattle and the state of Washington. After touring the damage caused by the eruption of Mount St. Helens in May of 1980, he helped secure recovery funds for Washington. But Royer says the economy prevented voters from giving Carter a second term.
Do you think he thought having that second term would have made his legacy better?
Well, oh God, yes.
But the first thing we did was to make good on that commitment.
Royer says he struggled in his first term, but went on to become Seattle's first and still only three-term mayor, serving from 1978 to 1990.
Carter didn't have time to evolve in the presidency.
Nobel Prize winner, the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter.
But Royer says Carter's reputation rebounded in his years after office, and Carter kept coming back to Seattle, most recently in 2017 at a Dow Constantine campaign event. Charlie Royer was there too.
This is the highest calling, but it calls people who want to be servants. Public service. Service is part of the job description. And Jimmy Carter was the quintessential, I think, servant leader.
Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
This morning, 4 Spokane police officers are on administrative leave after shooting a man near the Garland district. The incident happened at an apartment on West Cora Avenue. Spokane Police Chief Kevin Hall says officers responded around 4:30 yesterday afternoon after getting reports about a man firing gunshots out of an apartment.
They immediately began securing the situation and addressing the individual. At some point in time, the officers felt that there was a threat. Up to 4 officers discharged their weapons, and the individual, unfortunately, is now deceased.
Chief Hall says all of those officers will go on administrative leave. The Spokane Independent Investigative Response Team is taking over the case. This is a developing story. We'll continue to update you as more information becomes available. And this morning, the Pullman Police Department is investigating a murder that happened near Washington State University. A shooting killed a 28-year-old Pullman man. It happened on Northeast California Street last Thursday morning. Pullman police are asking for people living in the area to send in any surveillance footage or doorbell cameras to help find the suspect. This morning, we are working to find out who the victim is and if police have a description of the suspect. This morning, we are learning more about a crash that killed a 75-year-old woman near Fairchild Air Force Base on Saturday. Washington State Patrol says the driver did not indicate any wrongdoing, so no charges will be pressed. Sergeant Greg Riddell saying the driver could not avoid the crash and attributed the lack of light.
Indications were that she was wearing jeans and dark clothing, non-reflective clothing, and walking in the lane. So it looks like the driver of the automobile wasn't able to avoid the collision at all. The east of there is the Air Force Base where it's pretty well lit. So you're coming from a lit area to a pretty dark area.
Authorities and the medical examiner say they are still investigating why the woman was walking on the roadway. Police are working to find out if any impairment was involved.
We take you to our outdoor weather center where it is still actively snowing. In fact, it looks like the snowflakes had really picked up in intensity just in the last couple minutes here at our Southville studios. You can see that fresh snow that is just down on our set. I got the ruler out just to give it a quick measure here. Looks like I'm looking at about 1.1, 1.2, kind of in that realm. Any of this snow might add a little bit, but because our temperatures are just above the freezing mark, it's actually starting to compress. So if you want to get a gauge of how much snow has fallen, now might be the perfect time to go out and actually use those rulers that you probably picked up at the fair this past September. It's 33 both Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. Again, a little bit of an active snow, but very much still slushy down on the grounds, you know, at best. Some areas faring a little bit better. So we'll go more in detail on Doppler radar in just a little bit and show you where it is still actively snowing versus what areas are just getting rainfall as of this morning.